Car wash boss clocks us off if it's quiet. We'll make sure it stays busy, by use run documented Mexic 0N. I'm an undocumented Mexican immigrant. I moved to the US 3 months ago and have been working at a hand car wash since. The car wash I work at is staffed with fellow illegals. We all lack ID and most of us have limited English. These factors interfere with our integration into American society. Our boss is very cheap. He will clock us off when it's quiet and clock us on when it's busy. Sometimes we'll work 25 minutes, then wait 15 minutes unpaid in the staff room. We still have to stay on site the whole day though. I guess that is to be expected at a business like a car wash which has very thin margins. What did we start to do? We simply started to work slowly and perfectly when it's quiet. We'll work at half speed. We'll wipe down all the windows and tires, even if they are clean. We'll wash the underbody and engine bay. We'll wash the brake pads. We'll wash the door jambs with a sponge. We'll clay treat all the cars. We'll apply Armor All on all surfaces, even non-visible ones like the engine bay. We'll even vacuum the spare tire bay. All in all, we'll work very thoroughly when it's quiet. Beforehand I would have to stay at the car wash from 8 to 4 and would only usually be clocked on for 3.5 hours. Since we've all started to adaptively work, we can net about 6 hours easily. Okay, you win. We will practice and play on the other field, by user doing the hump titans. Several years ago I coached a kids soccer team. It was a community recreation league with volunteer coaches with a focus on fun and equal playing time. There were 2 fields next to a school. The third field is a 2-minute walk away and hidden behind a thick stand of trees invisible from the 2 fields. One would never know it was there but did have a small parking lot next to it accessible only by a rarely used, poorly maintained back lane. Most people would park in the school lot and walk the 2 minutes along the path through the trees. The 2 fields next to the school were typical school fields, not particularly well maintained, uneven and definitely not regulation-sized typical school fields. The third field was regulation-sized, perfectly maintained, had new bleachers and was maintained like a professional field with regular waterings, cutting, and seeding. It was the groundskeeper's pride and joy. It was the first day of a new season and my team of 10-year-olds, the Brown Pandas, our t-shirts were brown with pandas on them, showed up for our first practice. Except there was another team on our assigned field, a team of talented players with matching socks and shorts, were all wearing cleats and in their late teens. I approached the coach and explained that he was on our field and that his field was a 2-minute walk away down the path. He politely told me to take a hike, he was there first and that was that. So not looking for a confrontation I took my team to the really nice field. The parents had bleachers to sit in and we had a great time on the big boy field. After the practice the groundskeeper/convener asked me why we were practicing on this field. I told her what happened with the other coach. She told me she asked the other coach to switch field also, he told her to get stuffed and that was his field. 2 days later at our second practice his team was on our field again. The convener called me over to talk to her and the other coach. She stated, just to confirm, for the rest of the season you are switching fields with the Brown Pandas on the far field and your team on this field here. Yeah, this is our field and the little kids will be on the far field. He looked at us arrogantly. Fine by me. I stated, grabbed my big net sack of balls and trudged over to the professional field. 2 glorious weeks passed when during practice the other coach came over with his team and saw our field. He approached me and told me that we needed to switch fields. I laughed in his face. Go get the convener over so we can discuss. I turned my back on him and probably did something like tie a kid's shoe or dry some tears. Remember, they were 10-year-olds. His team started trying to use our field. One of the Brown Pandas was scared of the bigger kids and started crying. A couple of parents stepped in and started shooing them away before one of the 10-year-olds got hurt. He returned with his entire team and the convener. She was beaming. She asked him if he remembered our conversation of 2 weeks ago. He started to argue. She told him that we were keeping with the terms of that agreement and to go back to his own field. Go on. Scoot. I remember her saying. We had our first game the next week. All the Brown Panda parents were in attendance watching their children playing soccer on a beautiful field with semi-comfortable seating and a working scoreboard. As we left we walked by the other team playing on a muddy, undersized field. They eventually changed their game dates and times so they could use the big field but had to practice on the old field. The Brown Pandas never had to set foot on the older field all season. You want to cut in line? Alright, by user subliminal connection. I was at Costco the other day and I had just finished punching my food order in at the kiosk and was on my way to the order pickup line when a large, heavy-set, Angry old man wearing a US veteran baseball cap blocked me with his shopping cart so he could cut the line. I looked him up and down to see what I was dealing with and he glared right back as if to say, "Try me, boy." Now, I'm not one to get in a fight over a spot in line and I could tell that telling him off was not going to go anywhere good, so I let him be. But I did notice something during my assessment: he did not have an order slip from the kiosk. At least, not that I could see. So I waited. Imagine the grin on my face when he finally got to the window to find out that he had been in the wrong line the whole time. Carrying my order back to the car, I wore that grin as I passed that dude who was now at the very back of an even longer line than the one he had just left empty-handed. I could have told him he was in the wrong one. Maybe saved him some anguish, but that is not a courtesy I believe he deserved. It looks perfect on my monitor. Okay, I can work with that. By user Kiltaturtle. Working at Big CO with lots of agents in the field. Agents had pretty decent 15 laptops to work with customers in the field. New project comes up to give the field people some better tools. Project owner and the other stakeholders haven't been pleased with the way the old apps work. Looks like it was scraped from a 3270 terminal, pretty close, but well before my time. They make sure I hire a real graphics designer to develop the GUI. Fine, I can do that. Interviews, offers made, designer arrives. Susie is nice, programming team is excited to start, looks all good. As a gesture of welcome to our IT group, get her the developer setup. Souped up 15 laptop, docking station, 2 big monitors. Developers like it, they get to put windows all over the place, life is good. Susie seems to be happy. Pretty soon her, the lead developer and the business liaison go to make a great GUI experience. Time passes and I check in with the PM. Going okay, on schedule, and we have the GUI walkthrough in the morning. Super, I ask about how that's going to work. Build a mock-up as static web pages, they can just click through the pages. Dev team gave some fake data for the drop-downs. Sounds like it's under control, I go off to see what fires may be getting started elsewhere. Next day, come back from my last meeting of the afternoon. Email box is showing full red alert, Lotus Notes unread emails, and my message light is on my desk phone. Before I can mouse click my way into the mess, my boss comes into my office. Kilted, what exactly happened in the demo today? No idea, PM, says it was all set, business liaison was good, I had other priority ones so I skipped it. Poor move, get on top of the disaster now. Find PM, business liaison, Susie, and started asking questions. Demo in the conference room went fine. They sent the link out to the field people to look at. Field people had some issues. Like what? Well, a few said it was completely unusable, said Susie. She turns, pulls up a browser window on one of her big monitors. This is it, a very nice clear GUI. It looked a little busy to me, lots of boxes on one page. Hey, can you drag that down to your laptop screen? Yep, looks pretty crowded now that it's 1/3 size. Susie, it looks a little tight. Yes, but it looks perfect on my monitor as she slides it back to the big monitor. People in the field have 15 screens. Well, we should get them bigger ones, it looks perfect here, and I'm the GUI expert. Sigh. Second sigh. Tell the PM to meet me in my office, tell the others to go home. Long unhappy conversation with PM, much arm waving, etc. May have used the F word a few times. Maybe a few times in the same sentence. Bottom line was going to be hard to move Susie from the works perfect on my monitor. Next day, Susie comes storming into my office. What the fuck happened to my fucking monitors? Some fuckwad fucking stole them, that fucker breath, and they left a fucking note. What the fuck does eat the dog food fucking mean? Wow. She could be management material. Oh, that is a phase we use, eat our own dog food. Every time we build a new system that has user impact, we are the first users. So when it's bad, we get to see it first. Susie yells, what does that mean to me? No F words. Maybe not management material. It means that your users have 15 screens, you had a giant screen and kept going, it looks perfect on your monitor. Now you have 15 screens to see what they see. You know, eat the dog food. Susie sighed and walked away. 4 days later, the revised GUI demo went very well and she got her monitors back. Monitors was from the IT storage area, they were happy to get rid of 2 of the old monitors, unamused when they came back. You want the best I can offer? Okay, here it is, by userban_in_Utah. As a bit of background, When my wife and I had our first child, my wife's grandpa paid thousands to buy our son a lifetime membership in a political organization, we are in the USA, whose values do not match my wife and I. We were frustrated but didn't say anything because her grandpa lived alone and was toward the end of his life. When my son was a toddler, I lost my job. This was in the middle of the recession and jobs were hard to come by, particularly for recent college grads with no experience. The next 10 months were difficult. I often went to bed crying at the rejection after rejection. It was at a particularly low point that my son received a letter in the mail from this political organization that he is a part of. It talked about how they needed every penny he can spare to help this group in their fight. They needed his best. My sadness turned to anger. And I wanted to call them up and lose my mind. Instead, I decided to maliciously comply. My toddler son had no money but he could scribble on a piece of paper. He scribbled in various colors on a piece of paper. I wrote a note on the back saying that when you hit up a toddler for money, this is the best he could do, and I sarcastically told them I hoped it helped in their fight. I put it in the envelope they had enclosed, attached that envelope to a rock so that they had to pay extra postage, and sent it back. It makes me happy to think they lost money on hitting him up. Edit. Every single guess as to what organization it was is correct. I had hoped to leave it ambiguous but you got me, ha ha ha.